Fire, 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 fire.
Alright, what is this? They said Call of Duty wouldn't fail. Chat, did you know there's a new Call of Duty game? I did not. I did not know that. I only knew because of how bad people said it was. I didn't even know it came out. It's such a non-factor now. It's so sad. People used to get so excited about Call of Duty releases.
They said that Call of Duty was too big to fail. Famous last words of
Call
the
of
Titanic, if
Duty.
memory serves me right. And just like naming your game after the Concorde, you are setting yourself up for failure. But doesn't that quote just define Call of Duty and Activision?
Yes.
The idea that they deserve success without trying, that they deserve your money without earning it. And to their surprise, it didn't work. Black Ops 7 might be the worst performing Call of Duty in the history of the franchise. If the trailers getting bombed with dislikes and, well, so many more games actually being worth our money wasn't a sign of the times, a 60 to 70% decline.
Why would you play Call of Duty when you could just play Battlefield and it's actually like half decent and it's fun? I just don't see the point. Plus, all the microtransactions in Activision's games now are egregious. You're not just paying for the base game, you're paying extra on top of that. It's insane.
In sales and player counts will be the final nail in the coffin.
Ooh.
Nobody has any idea how bad this is. What if I told you guys Dragon Age the Veilguard did better? And that's only the tip of the iceberg. Black Ops 7 is the most phoned-in entry in the history of the franchise. They barely took the time to scrub off the Grok logo from some of the call signs and calling cards, delivering one of the most embarrassing campaigns I've ever seen for a first-person shooter. And it's a game that ultimately could have been an expansion or a map pack, but oh man, we wouldn't be able to charge $70 for that. So today what I want to do is I want to talk about...
They're somehow doing even worse than, like, EA in terms of, like, recycling stuff. Because at the end of the day, all the normies still buy Madden and FIFA and NBA, whatever. They still buy it and they spend an absurd amount of money with them. The fact that Call of Duty, COD, has been so bad that they're not making money... I don't know. I feel like this might just be the final COD. They might have to do something.
One of the most deserved failures in gaming history, Black Ops 7 and the Call of Duty franchise. I want to talk about how this publisher has strip-mined their IP until there's nothing left, and how I think they have backed themselves into a corner.
This is how I feel about World of Warcraft too. I feel like Activision is just beating a dead horse with Blizzard over the head and milking the franchise that people really got hooked on like 20 years ago or however long you've been playing it for. Or even longer than that. Maybe you played Warcraft 1 and 2. Yeah, they're just beating it over the head until it's like a sad pile of shit. Because it really... I've seen people accusing them of using AI and like really, really underqualified labor because of all the bad writing and spelling mistakes in the beta right now for the new expansion for World of Warcraft. People are speculating that they're actually just like a sinking ship.
Can't escape. Because if Black Ops 6 lost them $300 million and Black Ops 7 is doing worse, oh no. But before that, a word from today's sponsor, Starforge Systems. Today's video is sponsored by Starforge Systems, and their Black Friday sale is officially live. If you guys have been waiting for the right moment to upgrade, this is the best chance that you're going to get. There's up to $1,000 off of everything on the website, and I'm actually just going to throw the script aside on this. I love my Starforge PC. This thing has been incredible for me. These guys looked out for me when my PC went down. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to make videos. They've been great to me this entire time, and so has their PC. This is one of the highest quality PCs that I
have a Starforge, not sponsored, bought it with my own money. Thumbs up. Got here all in one piece. Everything was great. Thumbs up.
ever had. It looks
Very
clean.
nice
It
of them
punches
to do
way
that
above
for
its
them.
weight. It's the kind of hardware that you get once and you just
And it hasn't
immediately
broken
feel
or
the
anything.
difference. And I
Nothing's
think that's
wrong
what a
with
lot
it.
of people are looking for. So if you're thinking about getting a new
Wow,
setup, or
look
if you're
at
just
that.
waiting for the
Look at
price
that
to make
box.
sense,
It's a
right
nice
now is the
box.
time. Check out Starforge Systems and their Black Friday sale using the link in the description below. So I want to share something with you guys, an experience that I had that I'm sure a lot of other people enjoyed, something that I think honestly sums up both Call of Duty and just modern gaming as a whole at the exact same time. After I downloaded Black Ops 7, this is how the timeline went. Open the game needs to now restart for an update, load it up again, get dumped into a menu with every other Call of Duty stacked on top of each other like a graveyard of past mistakes.
Oh, the spaghetti code must be insane.
Immediately get hit with an ad to buy the game.
You bought a $70 game and they blast you with an ad instantly. Dude, I remember loading into Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on my brother's PC. And it was just the game. Like, you just load in, you play the campaign, or you play online. That's it. What the hell is this? This is dystopian.
That I've already purchased. Hunt down the actual Black Ops 7 tile. Play a cutscene. Wait for the shaders to install because they can't be bothered to preload those.
Oh
now
my
you're
God,
finally
that's
in
egregious.
Black Ops 7. Oh, wait. Click the co-op campaign because they're not bothering to deliver a single player one. Play another cutscene. Get shoved into a matchmaking menu. Sign a code of
What?
conduct. Search
Wait, it's a co-op now? What?
for a match. Load the match. Play another cutscene. 15 minutes. It took me
Can you play the
15
game
minutes
yet?
from install to actually touching gameplay. In any other game, I press play on Steam and I'm in that menu in seconds. But in Call of Duty, every inch of friction is intentional. They don't preload shaders. They don't preload patches. They
don't
push
care,
all of that
bro.
to the client because your inconvenience is their workflow. They funnel you into their unified launcher to be able to blast you with ads, sales, battle passes, bundles, anything except the game that you paid for.
Apparently, you can't even pause the campaign. I think that's probably on purpose because their writing is probably so dog shit nobody's fucking paying attention anyway. Like, let's be real.
The moment I launched Black Ops 7, nothing
What?
was for me. Every second of it served them. My time, my convenience, my experience wasted for 15 minutes because the player's perspective isn't even in the room anymore. Now look, I am almost struggling to be able to find the words to tear this.
Do the puzzle. Do the puzzle in my card game, Ted. Look, there's a card puzzle game. Oh my god.
Franchise
How do I
apart,
get it
partially
over
because there is just so
here?
much wrong with it, and also
Oh.
because I'm just numb to it at this point. Every
What the fuck? Why is there a puzzle game in my COD, dude? You'd say this to someone in 2009 and they'd probably laugh and spit in your face. I'm not even kidding.
conversation about this series
What's the
ends with the same
answer?
shrug. What do you expect? It's Call of Duty. It has become the poster child for everything that is broken in the games industry. Pure creative bankruptcy, Trojan horse into a
So
box
sad,
release
dude.
year after year, solely to squeeze another quarter out of a fan base that they openly disrespect. A game made for one purpose: revenue, led by serpent-eyed executives who treat their audience and their content creators like disposable marketing tools. We need you in Verdansk, or better yet, not allowing content creators to take a bathroom break because it might mess up their B-roll.
I feel like that's kind of not, that's almost criminal. Like, I'm not sure. I'm not a lawyer, but that sounds weird, no?
And now he's been waiting. He's been waiting like 40 minutes ago.
40 minutes holding your bladder?
The person that told him thought that this was a test.
Yo, I didn't know they took Jeff Bezos' advice. Should have given a pee bottle.
Yeah.
Just piss yourself.
Okay, I mean,
Because
he's gotta go to the bathroom. You know what I mean?
It has to be after. It has to be after.
I mean, I'm just speaking up
Wow.
for him.
These guys
Dude, they didn't even give him a bottle. The guy is carrying a bottle in the background, and they didn't even give that one to him. God, Brandon piss bottle.
don't even care about basic human dignity or health. Why would they care about your video?
What is this?
These guys don't even care about basic human dignity or health.
This is... no, is this real? Like, he's just, like, strobing on him? He's morbing. He's morbing.
Why would they care about your video game? This attitude, this open contempt for their own customers bleeds straight into Black Ops 7.
He looks like
the campaign
I actually thought it was a bug, and then I realized from reading the dialogue, he's like shooting at him.
is just brain rot masquerading as a video game. It feels frenetic and nonsensical with no real purpose. None of it connects because the people that were making it clearly didn't know what they were making in the first place. They're resurrecting long dead enemies, long dead allies, long dead plot lines, all because of some psychosis toxin that conveniently lets them hand wave anything that they couldn't.
Dude, you have to be on some sort of toxin to play this game. Maybe that's who the target audience is. It's just like people who are like really, really high. You have to be in like active psychosis, like not on your medication or something. This is insane.
Right? The whole thing just devolves into you're literally just fighting your hallucinations because that's the only thing that their story had left.
Time.
The game constantly blends the current timeline with Mason's imagination, which turns it.
Why is there an eldritch monster in my Call of Duty? I didn't realize I was playing Resident Evil or something.
Into these pseudo Inception levels with zombies, flower monsters, and some of the most overcooked mechanics in the entire industry. And all of this is building towards these boss fights.
No, this is a Resident Evil moment. You know, like the monster consumes the guy and then they have to fight it. This isn't COD. Boss fights in my COD? Yeah, apparently.
That are so tedious and repetitive that it almost feels like a prank. Shoot the glowing flower.
Who wants to play this? Dude, even Resident Evil isn't this bad. They don't have like glowing parts on the monster most of the time when you have to shoot them.
So that you can deal damage. Throw the giant machetes so you can deal damage. Repeat until you lose the will to continue. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more miserable, the game is forcing you into co-op where half of the lobby is going AFK at the first checkpoint. It is.
They don't even want to play the game that they paid for. This is where we're at. We have people that pay $70 to play a game that they don't even want to play.
Less of a campaign and more of a shared suffering more than anything else. Now, I could make the case, like a lot of other people, that at least the multiplayer... Do you
know what this reminds me of? You know, if you played World of Warcraft and you played that dog shit expansion, Battle for Azeroth, and you'd get ported into, what is it called, Warfronts, and then, like, half the team is AFK because they don't want to do the content because it's so bad, but they have to because they have to do it for the currency or whatever, the Azerite. It's literally the same thing.
And zombies modes are fine. The maps feel all right, even though half of them are just reheated leftovers from earlier Black Ops and Modern Warfare games. I saw that Call of Duty content creator JGod replied to my post on Twitter.
This isn't even COD anymore. This is Fortnite. At least Fortnite is fun, dude. At least loading into a game of Fortnite is fun. Like, you get to play the game.
After I gave an update on my experience, and he made concessions about the campaign, minimized it because it's only 3 hours, and said that multiplayer and zombies are good overall. And I get that perspective. But in that moment, I realized and replied, there are just better games to play than lining up to punch the ticket on another Call of Duty. $70 for a brain-dead, phoned-in game that could have just been another map pack or an expansion. I could get by. Guys, I could play this game.
Yeah, but they can't charge you $70 for a map pack or something.
I could even have fun with my friends, but I am just sick and tired of wasting my time and money on games and companies that don't deserve it. I don't need to make excuses. I don't need to play their game. I'm over it. And judging by the numbers, it looks like for the first time in franchise history, the players finally agree. Everyone is sick of Call of Duty. Black Ops 7 launched to a pitiful 87,000 concurrent players.
Wow. Wowee. That is terrible, chat. Peak 3 years ago, 400K. Yeah, and then people will be coping and being like, no, that's because, like, it's on the Battle Pass, or it's on the what is it called? The Free Pass, the Xbox Pass? Are you serious? That's awful.
On Steam, and yeah, sure.
Dude, it's just completely dead. Look at the bottom here. How many days passed? 3 days. Look, 18th of November. I don't know if you can see this behind my head, but it's 18th of November is the big dip right here. Yeah, 3 days.
Over the weekend, it scraped its way up to 100,000, but you got to remember, that number reflects the Call of Duty launcher, the unified launcher representing anybody that's playing every Call of Duty title that's inside of it, including the free-to-play Battle Royale Warzone, a launcher that before this game released was averaging around 37,000 concurrent players. So if you're doing the math, Black Ops 7 only added about 50,000 concurrent players on release day and maybe 70,000 players across the weekend. That means this multi-million-dollar blockbuster performed worse than Dragon Age the Veilguard at launch. Let that sink in. And guys, none of this should be shocking. Leading up to the launch of Black Ops 7, every red flag was waving, from the online discourse to the trailers being nuked with dislikes. People were brushing it off because Call of Duty always sells. Even Activision was leading into that delusion when they literally said that the franchise was too big to fail when they were asked if they were worried about Battlefield.
Now they're eating crow. For those that do not know this analogy, I know I have a lot of ESL stuff. Eating crow is when you say something like, oh, I'm not worried about this, and then it happens. Now they're eating crow. Yeah, you did it to yourself. Nobody's sorry for you, bro.
6, and now, well, they got a lot to worry about, because if we compare this to Black Ops 6's launch last year, that game peaked over 300,000 concurrent players, which means that Black Ops 7 is down 60 to 70%. Now, as usual, you've got people that want to deny reality. The moment Steam charts come up, people suddenly say that the platform doesn't matter anymore. Conveniently, that argument is always coming from people whose identity or oftentimes their income depends on Call of Duty succeeding every single time. It's a Call of Duty content creator, some diehard fanboy that's pretending that the game is just being played everywhere else but the biggest gaming platform.
They just love to hub copium, and then when it finally dies and they say, guys, I don't think there's gonna be a next Call of Duty, they'll be like, no, oh, my friends, oh, the sunk cost fallacy of all those years that I played COD, now nobody's gonna play with me, or nobody plays it because it's not fun.
Platform in the world. They insist that everyone is using the dedicated launcher or they're playing on console, but that excuse crumbles instantly when you remember that the launcher hit almost 500,000 concurrent players the day it came to Steam, and Black Ops 6 hit over 300,000 players last year. Steam charts do not give us exact numbers, but they do give us exact trends, and that trend is not going up. It is falling off a cliff. It is.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah. Look, even it's so bad. Oh my god.
Proof that this game isn't selling, players aren't showing up, and that the product simply isn't worth the money.
Number go down.
And that's the core of it. That is why this game is failing right now. What Black Ops 7 offers barely
what are these
even
health bars too. What the hell am I looking at? Who designed this UI? I hate using this term, but this looks like cancer, dude. Like, it's so fucking bad. It's so
qualifies as DLC, let alone a full game. The only reason it's packaged this way is because it makes them more money, not because it's offering you anything more of value. Maybe that's worked for them in the past. That's not working anymore. Players are waking up. Players are getting whiplash over the sheer number of genuinely good games that are dropping right now. I don't know how anybody could keep supporting something this lazy when you have Battlefield 6, Arc Raiders, or a whole wave of other games that are actually trying. Now, I've seen some of the conversations about the game's use of AI, and I think that this really comes down to what I've said 100 times by now. It's about
if you had Left 4 Dead 2 and 1 that had better AI and like physics for their characters, we were literal zombies too, by the way, and that's not better than it is now. I mean, sorry, I should say Left 4 Dead had amazing zombie physics, and that came out in 2009. If you have bad AI at this point, that's literally on you. It's so bad.
Implementation and intention. A game like Arc Raiders
skin. It's like someone shoved it up their butt and it's got glowing poo-poo on it.
That's using text-to-speech to be
it's so distracting too.
Able to make the experience more immersive and accessible, to give players more ways to communicate. That's done for the good of the game. That's for the good of the players. Call of Duty, on the other hand, used AI to scrape Studio Ghibli-style grok images and shove them into achievements and microtransactions.
Oh my god!
Yeah, pay $10 reduce for something that literally took 2 seconds to make. Yeah, bro.
It's because they wanted to cut costs and make more money. It has nothing to do with the experience. It
No,
has
guys, they
nothing
love
to
you.
do with
They really
value.
wanna-
It
they
has
really wanna make a
everything to
good
do with
COD.
profit margins. And when you use tools like that to slowly cheapen your development, it doesn't just affect the AI generated art or those parts of the games, it infects the entire design philosophy. You can see it across every inch of Black Ops 7, every corner cut, every asset that was reused, every lazy decision that is.
I swear there's engagement farts for AI that do a better job of like making art than this. They actually put more effort into it than a multi-billion-dollar company. Isn't that sad? Have you ever guys seen like a piece of art on Twitter and then like it's like an engagement farming bot post where, you know, it's like they're saying like, oh, this is a really nice piece of art, and then there's a bunch of people underneath commenting and saying that it's AI. They've put more effort into it than this.
Shaped in this mindset that this
It's not
product
sad, it's
only
just
needs to be
business.
just good enough to push
It's
another
just
transaction.
business, guys.
And that's the part that makes this entire thing so embarrassing and pathetic to me. This is the biggest gaming company, the biggest gaming publisher in the entire world, working on one of the biggest titles, one of the biggest franchises in the world. These guys have generated billions of dollars in revenue. They've generated tons of fan support. They have 20 years of experience making these games. And this is what you deliver. This is all you have in you. It's all you're willing to give. That's what this really comes down to. You have the money.
But people keep buying the slop. Like the only thing that will make sense is if it actually truly fails and they don't make enough money for it to like justify the cost of like making another game.
You have the manpower, you have the
Yeah.
experience, you have
People
everything you
been
could
buying the slop
possibly
up
need,
until this
but the
point.
only thing that you care about is extracting more money from your audience. Not the
Yeah,
quality
out
of
of
the
their
product, not
wallet.
my experience playing it, just getting to that next revenue cycle.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it
Q4
doesn't
is
work.
calling.
I saw somebody upset that I didn't like the game. They said that I had made up my mind before I even pressed play, and they are absolutely right, because these guys have been making the exact same game for 15
Dude, these are the fanboys. Wait, what you do? It's a piece of shit on a plate. How do you know it's a piece of shit? You haven't even eaten it yet.
But it looks like a smelly turd. Like I know I haven't like literally played it yet, but it just looks like a smelly turd on the plate.
But it hasn't even come out of the... You haven't even tasted the poo-poo.
years. Am I supposed to have
fanboys,
concessions for a
bro.
company
They're on
like
another
this?
level,
Am I
swear.
supposed to make excuses or be understanding for the now multi-trillion-dollar company? I think not. How do you play this game? How do you buy this game with a straight face when you have seen just how many incredible games that we've had come out over the last year, over the last couple of years? You have Arc Raiders that is still
Indoctrinated.
continuing to just blow records and just shatter through the ceiling of the industry right now. You have Battlefield 6 that is still stable. There's other games that are out there. The contrast between a
And
good and a
fun.
bad game has never been clearer than it is today. Never. And as crazy as it sounds, for me now, the user experience, the UX, if you will, is my divining rod for a lot of these games now. If I get in, if you are so lost in the I need to make money weeds that you need to set me through a 15-minute nothing experience, my needs, my perspective is not shared.
I think that we got to this point because of the whole boiling frog fallacy. They saw what they could get away with year after year, release after release, and I think we finally hit the point where people are actually like, oh, well, we don't want to play this game anymore. What I'm actually unironically afraid of is that they're gonna take this, like, you know, this data that they're gonna gather from this and say, like, oh, well, this was a failure. They're gonna dial it back just enough. Just enough. Not go back to, like, Modern Warfare 1 and 2 or 3 or the first 3 Black Ops, right? I don't think they're gonna go back to that. They're gonna dial it back just enough where people are like, this is still slop, but I'll play it, you know?
Or cared about. This is only a vehicle for making revenue. And I think that this year has proven that style of thinking, that kind of game, doesn't work. And I think that's the problem for Activision, and I think it's an even bigger problem for Microsoft, because They've built themselves to make games like that. Those are the kind of games that these guys are trying to make right now. And while I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Call of Duty fans that are going to sit up and go, no, this game failing will wake the company up. The next game will be better. I don't think you understand just how much of a failure this game is. And I don't think that it's one they're going to get away.
People need to like. I wish I could like port over some knowledge into people's brains about what I've been experiencing as like a Blizzard like enjoyer. Right? They killed so many franchises over the years. Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, World of Warcraft has been falling off, and they've just been like clamoring on for nostalgia and like basically just shitting out expansion after expansion for years now. What else? Diablo's absolutely just been massacred. Like, look at what they've done to my boy. The battle pass system in Diablo of all things? Yeah, we can dream it up. We gotta milk more money out of our stupid audience because they have nostalgia goggles on.
And I don't think people understand just how bad it's going to get. These guys are cooked. Okay, now some of you guys are going to like this, but the longer that I look at the Call of Duty numbers, the worse this picture gets. And I don't just mean, oh, this isn't good. I mean industry shaking. Now, we've already established that this game saw a jump of about 50 to 70,000 concurrent players on Steam through the game's unified launcher. That is a 60 to 70% collapse compared to Black Ops 6, which is over 300,000 players. And now that number has been confirmed even further by UK reporting a 61% decline in physical sales for this game's latest release. Now, yes, I understand that physical is dying, but when two metrics drop by the same margin, that's a pattern that is impossible to ignore. But the part that nobody's talking about here, the part that turns this from a bad year into a full-blown structural failure, is what's happening behind the scenes financially. Last year, Xbox reportedly lost $300 million in sales on Black Ops 6 because the game went to Game Pass. And I've seen some people trying to argue that this year's drop is explained by more players choosing to play
Didn't they also increase the price of the Xbox Game Pass as well? Like, am I crazy? Like, yeah, they lost a bunch of money and they thought it would bring people into the ecosystem, but they actually increased the price, right? The retroactively. They were like, oh, yeah, geez, we're losing a lot of money. Yeah, $20 to $30. It's expensive.
Game Pass instead of buying the game, except for the fact that Game Pass hasn't grown. According to available data, it went from 34 million subscribers back in February of 2024 to 35 million this summer, a single million new subs, and that's before the big price increase that we had recently. So even if every single one of those new subscribers was a guaranteed full price COD buyer, they weren't, it still wouldn't explain a 60 to 70% drop in sales, not even remotely. Guys, this is a franchise that normally sells tens of millions of copies, 20, 30, even 40 million in some cases. Cold War, one of the most hated Call of Duties ever, still moved over 30.
I think they probably only sold 100K, maybe 150, which is so terrible for a game that costs millions to make. This might be a Concord situation. I'm not sure. I think Concord got memed on a lot harder, but I think like the average Joe Schmo just didn't show up and they're pissed. Not 2 mil. I don't think so. Just based on metrics, just from like the Steam release, I think 1 to 2 mil is the 500K peak.
Million copies back in 2020. When a series sits that high for that long, any major dip is going to be dangerous. But a collapse of this size, dropping Call of Duty to maybe a 10 million or less units sold game after 2 decades of dominance, that's the kind of hit that destabilizes an entire publisher. Just look at Ubisoft. Activision has built their entire operational structure on the assumption that Call of Duty would always pump out blockbuster numbers. They have staff for it. They have budgeted for it. They have spent like their future is guaranteed. And now the bottom just fell out. In an article from back in January...
If 10 million people bought this game, then yeah, Call of Duty was not gonna die. Never mind, I take it back.
Of this year, titled Activision almost spent $1.8 billion developing 3 Call of Duty titles, Chris Kerr writes, court filings spotted by GameFile have revealed that Activision Blizzard has spent almost $1.8 billion developing 3 Call of Duty titles that went on to sell a combined 114 million units worldwide.
Wow.
Activision's current head of creative on the Call of Duty series, Patrick Kelly, disclosed the information to the court in California in December of 2024 in response to a lawsuit filed against the company last May. In doing so, he revealed that Call of Duty Black Ops 3 cost $450 million to develop across its life cycle. It went on to sell 43 million units after debuting in 2015. Call of Duty Modern Warfare was developed several years later to the tune of $640 million and sold 41 million copies after its launch in 2019. 2020 release, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, also incurred a development cost of
I told you, chat, something happened like 2016, 17. It just killed everything.
$100 million across its entire life cycle and sold 30 million copies. It's important to reiterate that those figures encompass the lifetime development costs of each title, which often include years of robust post-launch support. As noted by GameFile, however, they do not include the
That's an oxymoron, by the way. Robust post-launch support is an oxymoron. They immediately start working on the next Call of Duty so they can sell it to you again for full price. I don't believe in this post-launch bullshit. No. Don't get it twisted. I don't believe it. Congo got dunked on as hard as it was because everyone except for Sony and Firewalk saw what was coming. Again, Call of Duty's name alone offered some degree of genuine optimism. Yeah, now that I'm looking at the numbers, if they actually sold like a couple of million, I mean, I don't know. I'd have to look at statistics and like actually understand what I'm looking at. But I feel like 1 to 2 million should be good enough to maintain a game. But then again, 1 to 2 million copies for an indie game is a blowout success. If you're spending like $500 million on a video game and then you only sell that many copies, is not great.
Marketing costs, which can represent a notable outlay in their own right. Good Lord, I knew Activision spent a lot of money on Call of Duty, but I would have never imagined it was anything close to this. The sheer waste and inefficiency here is unbelievable. No wonder these guys are gutting their studios, laying off entire teams and shoving AI in every workflow they can, because based on the numbers that were disclosed in court, and these have to be real because they're legal filings, if we adjust for inflation, there is a very real possibility that Black Ops 7 costs anywhere in the neighborhood of Cold War's $700 million budget, or maybe even pushing up towards $900 million. And that's without marketing. Anyone...
Bro, what? I would have never in my wildest dreams thought that a game would make, like, cost like $800 million to make. No, in what universe? I mean, how much does the average, like, Hollywood movie cost to make? Like, 450 million? How much does the average, let's say Marvel movie, because this is kind of like a Marvel movie, right? Marvel movie costs to make 190 million, with some films exceeding 300 million. So this doesn't even come close. I'm actually flabbergasted. I overshot it to say 450 million, and the maximum is like 300 mil. Oh my god, that's insane. In what universe do you need that much money to make a video game? I'm sorry, what?
Who's been paying attention to AAA budgets knows that marketing can easily run 25 to 100% of the development costs, sometimes even more. And Call of Duty is the most aggressively marketed game on Earth. Soda promotions, sports broadcasts, TV shows, billboards.
The first Avatar film cost $300 million in 2009. I don't know how much that is by inflation standards, but that still wouldn't come close to Call of Duty. Yeah, even if you double that, that's 600 million.
Influencer campaigns, you name it.
Man.
They blanket every single surface that they can afford. It is absolutely believable that the full spend here likely climbed into the $1 billion range, maybe even more, and now they're watching that investment crater. So that means even if we're keeping it conservative and assume that these guys were expecting around 20 million copies sold, that's roughly $900 million in revenue after platform cuts. Why
are you killing spiders in COD? I'm sorry. I'm kind of like zoning in and out, like thinking about what to say as I'm listening, and then there's like this on my screen. My mind is fucking exploding right now. Why am I shooting spiders in a COD game? I thought you just shot. Never mind. I won't make that joke. I thought you just, killed other people. They went into Shalom's lair. Yeah, this is Lord of the Rings, bro.
Average it at about $45 per copy with a 60% sales collapse. That falls to around $360 million. Fewer players also means fewer microtransaction buyers, so you're not going to get record-breaking cosmetic revenue when
there's zombies, spiders, zombies for a while. Yeah, but is this the zombie mode? This doesn't look like the zombie mode. I think this is just the campaign, is it not? Yeah, no, is this the... I think this is the campaign? That's what I'm saying! Like, I understand if it was like the zombie one, because there's zombies running around, but I was like watching and I'm like, this is the campaign. There's like people running around. Every 5 rounds usually. Bro, this isn't zombies, this is the campaign.
60% of your audience just vanished. How the hell are you going to make your money back when you just blew $700 million plus on a game and the next one comes out next year? They expected billions. They got a fraction of that.
Yo, it's the Scourge from WoW.
They spent money like those billions were guaranteed. Now, some people are going to say that's fine. They'll make it up next year. That thinking is exactly what got these guys where they are right now. A decade of greed and arrogance that has locked Activision into a release schedule that leaves no room to be able to improve anything. I've talked to Activision and Call of Duty developers. These guys have been saying for years now that they need time to work on the engine, time to improve the anti-cheat, time to actually build something meaningful. But
that's funny. Anti-cheat and what? Anti-cheat, bro.
They don't get that time. They are chained to a 1-year treadmill that is designed to refresh these Warzone guns, these cosmetics, these battle passes, and that $70 ticket price every single fall. And the next Call of Duty, it's already deep in production, nearing the finish line. There is no space to pivot, no band.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I hate it when they just lie to your face. They say things like, there's post-launch support for COD. I'm like, no, there's not. You're literally just dumping it for the next game. That's how your turnover rate is so insane. What is it, like once every 2 years or once a year we get a new COD? Isn't that sad?
With to reinvent anything and no chance that whatever small changes that they try to make now is going to undo the damage. They have built a machine that only moves in one direction. And the moment that that direction stops being profitable, the whole thing is just going to fall on top of them. And even if Activision wanted to fix any of this, there's a bigger problem for them. Players just don't care anymore.
True.
Any changes that they could make now wouldn't even move the needle for a franchise that most people are burnt out on. You guys released...
We just watched the shoe video where she said, why would you go and drink Dr. Pibb when you could go drink Dr. Pepper? Battlefield is out. All of your friends probably play it. They're having fun. Why would you try and play this game?
These games every single year. A lot of players are just exhausted from buying the same game every year. It barely makes sense for sports titles. It makes even less sense for a first-person shooter. $70 or more, depending on where you live. That is a lot of money to keep dropping on something that hasn't meaningfully changed in a decade. And the truth is more simple than anything. Players just have better options nowadays. Battlefield 6 finally gave a reason for its community to come back to it.
Is he bugged? What is this?
Is well supported and still growing to this.
What? You are actually hallucinating in Call of Duty. You have to choke yourself out and take like gas station sex pills to enjoy this game. I swear.
Day, more shooters are on the way, and with independent studios delivering real value at a fraction of the price, who's to say that the next big FPS game doesn't come from a team of 5 people that are selling their game for $10? Now, this is not the end of their problems because Microsoft and Xbox have built a structure where they can't fix any of this. They've locked themselves into 1-year release cycles. They've chained their entire ecosystem to Call of Duty's revenue, and then they turned Activision into Xbox's single biggest financial pillar the moment that acquisition closed. Xbox's content and services revenue jumped by 61% overnight because Activision Blizzard became their entire revenue engine outside of Game Pass. And with
This is why I have no faith in World of Warcraft ever coming back. Yeah, they showed their hand with WoW Classic and re-releasing it like a million times. People are coping and huffing and saying WoW Classic Plus is gonna be like really cool and everything, and I'm like, I don't know what you guys are smoking. This is just another like cycle of a launch game where they have a great success and then it like really falls off because people are gonna realize what's wrong with it. COD is just at the point where like you can see the piece of shit early and then you can just not buy it, but with like games like World of Warcraft and Overwatch, it's like, oh man, I just feel bad. I saw Savix preparing for it, but it's different for streamers. I'm not criticizing streamers for saying this kind of thing because it's their job. It's a little bit different. I'm talking about the people who die hard defend like Blizzard, Activision, and COD, like their life depends on it, even though they're not like streamers or people that make money off of it or like game devs.
Pass already losing money. Now Call of Duty is losing money. What happens when both pillars crack at the same time? Now, let's zoom out for a second. Name an Xbox title this year that actually sold outside of the Oblivion remake. Avowed didn't, Outer Worlds 2 didn't, Doom didn't. I'm sure there's a bunch more that I can't remember, but they likely don't even matter in the first place.
I had a lot of chatters telling me that they didn't really enjoy it and they were really disappointed, and then nobody talked about it.
Major Xbox release has underperformed, and this franchise, this multi-billion-dollar juggernaut, was supposed to keep the roof held up. Instead, it's collapsing faster than everything else they own. Now layer on top of that the cost cutting, the layoffs, the AI infrastructure, the shrinking talent pool across every studio they control. They're not investing in people. They're not investing in craft. They're not pretending anymore. Their entire strategy is cost reduction by any means necessary, and improving their games isn't anywhere in the plan. It's collateral damage. And given their current position, this is where the wheels fall off. If this game continues to perform as poorly as it has out of the gate, it is going to shake this industry to its core. It's going to prove that there's no such thing as predictable revenue streams in the games industry. And as a result, as a consequence of that, it's going to break apart this AAA hegemony. It's going to make investors very, very nervous. And they're already nervous looking at Ubisoft and how that company fell apart. But I think it's going to wake up a lot of these people to the realization that this is a creative industry first and foremost. And if your effort isn't going into that, and your effort is instead going into, I don't know, trying to turn it into a factory, soullessly mine some of these IPs,
and farming them with
you're
AI.
going to be met with catastrophic failure. Eventually you will. Maybe it might not be immediately, but it'll definitely happen in the future. And it's going to be to the tunes of billions.
I don't know. I don't know how much it's going to take for them to, like, actually fall down and fall over. I don't have a lot of faith. I think there's still idiots that buy COD and, like, buy the slop. You would be surprised. You would be surprised at how many people still buy the slop and, like, buy the microtransactions and, like, cope.
Of dollars in the case of Activision and Call of Duty. I think that it would be different if we could have the conversation that, oh, well, Xbox will just give them more time. We know that's not going to be the case because Microsoft has already come forward saying that they are demanding a 30% profit margin from all of their studios.
Oh my god.
And that's...
Imagine being a game dev who just loves video games. You played like on the Atari or the GameCube. Maybe you played like the first Call of Duty, the one set in like World War II or World War I. And then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get a job at Activision Blizzard. And then they're like yelling at you to like work faster and do more work because they need to satisfy the, you know, the CEOs and make them buy another yacht. I would hate that. I genuinely don't know how people like that do it. How do you cope with that like reality?
It's just not, that's not gonna work in this situation. And on top of that, who are we kidding? Name a single studio that has actually improved under Xbox's control. Post-acquisition.
Wait, okay, hold on. I don't play Minecraft, but you guys remember when Minecraft got acquired by Microsoft? Did it actually get better? I had one of these, like, really annoying people back in, like, 2018 or 2019, whenever it happened. They were, like, coping and saying, like, yeah, it's gonna get better. Minecraft is gonna get better. Yes and no, it got worse. I think they had a bunch of stuff. I don't think so. Yes, it did better. It got some updates. Or it stayed neutral, it changed. It's kind of the same. I wasn't sure. Like, people were like saying that it got worse, but I don't know. I don't play it. It got worse. Bedrock Edition barely works. It's kind of overcomplicated, but not bad. Okay. It stayed the same. All right.
Position. I think
I'm
every
just
single one
pondering.
of them have lost reputation, have lost talent, have lost sales, have lost just about everything. Even just recognition. Most people don't even know some of these games anymore. And Xbox has released so many games this year, and I think the only one out of all of them that actually succeeded or that was actually profitable was the Oblivion remake. And again, that was a
Yeah.
third-party company that made that. That wasn't one of their studios.
And they'll call it a
This
great
is the
success,
most
too.
deserved downfall in the history of video games. These guys have been exploiting their games and their audiences for so long, and they've gone unopposed in a lot of cases. I think a lot of people just kind of
I think Battlefield opposes it on a regular basis, and I think Battlefield actually listened because Battlefield had that really bad release launch. I want to say in like 2018. Was that the one where it was like terrible and unplayable and it sucked ass and nobody could play the game? They didn't even have like a scoreboard. I feel like they did kind of listen after that happened, or at least I think so. Yeah, was it 2042? Yeah.
assumed that Call of Duty would always sell, that people would just buy the slop, eat the slop, pigs. It's the
Yeah, they
silent
actually listen.
audience, the mythical silent audience that's out there. But I think it's not happening anymore. I think that there's just too many games that have been coming out. One, games are far too expensive. And there's just such a contrast between how great some of these games are versus some of these other games that we're seeing. There is such a massive contrast between what you've always been getting and what you never get. It's never been more clear than it is today. I think this is it for them. I really do not see a way out of this. And I think that something that makes this entire situation even worse is that this is not a shot against anybody. Please do not take offense to this if you are a Call of Duty content creator. But every single person that I saw that was talking about how Call of Duty's actually good and the numbers are a lie, don't pay attention to Steam charts, I'd click on them. I'd see, oh, you're a Call of Duty content creator. I'd go and look at their profile or go look at their YouTube channel. And these guys have lost 90% of their viewership over the past 5 years. That is staggering. And
That's horrible.
I'm talking guys that were getting 1 million views, 500,000 views on every single upload that dropped.
Yeah, it happened to World of Warcraft too as well. If you actually start if you start looking at content creators that were like really popular back in like Classic or like Legion, they've fallen off a cliff because that viewership has fallen off dramatically. They might still be doing a great job and like putting in effort and putting in the same effort they did before, but the interest is completely waned, and it's fallen off a cliff.
Down to like
the game
10 or
isn't that
20K
good.
views.
People don't
And
want to care.
that's not you. That's the
It's
game.
not their fault.
That is a consequence if you tying your career to a game. I'm not going to tell you
Sugarcoat it,
it's the
yeah.
truth in this case, but that shows people aren't watching the content. If people aren't watching the content, then
The
they're
same thing is happening to League streamers too. There's been a really bad decline, and it's because Riot isn't like listening to their player base.
not playing the game. And if they're not playing the game, they're just not interested in it. And the faster that moves, especially seeing how massive of a decline that is over just 5 years, I don't see how people are going to be interested in this game. And once you lose that interest, it's real hard to get back.
Yep. True.
Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know that I did. If you guys did
I
enjoy the video,
did.
like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, share it on social media. Get me those nice, beautiful engagements. I need that on this channel, believe me, before I turn into one of the Call of Duty content creators. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Stay cool, stay righteous, I keep doing this. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter,
I don't know
follow
how
me
to
on
do
Kick.
outros
Stay
either.
cool,
It's
stay
okay.
righteous, stay safe. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Family. That was a good video, Chad. Did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy shitting on COD? Go check him out. He's really good.
Fire, 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 fire.